Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Production Bytes series. I'm your host, Veranova, and today I'm going to talk a bit about basic compression. A compressor is a plugin which reduces the dynamic range of a piece of audio. It's a staple effect for every audio engineer and simply pushes down the loudest parts of the audio, making the overall dynamics more consistent. For this tutorial I'm going to be using FL Studio and the Fruity Limiter plugin. Anything I teach using this compressor can easily be transferred to any other because they all share the same basic controls. So first off, I'll explain these controls. You've got a threshold, a ratio, makeup gain, and the attack and release settings. The threshold is the level that the audio needs to reach before it's compressed. Anything above this level will be pushed down by the compressor, and anything below it will be left alone. The ratio is what controls how much the audio is compressed after breaking the threshold. A high ratio will push down hard on the audio, and a low ratio will push down very lightly. The makeup gain is used to raise the level of the audio after it's been compressed. Since the peaks will have been pushed down to the same level as the quieter audio, it is then possible to raise the level of everything without any clipping. Lastly, the attack and release settings determine how long it takes for the compression to kick in once the audio has broken the threshold, and also determine how long it takes for the compression to back off once the audio has gone below the threshold. So now that the theory side of compression is out of the way, we can get on with the practical side. Right here I've got an instrumental version of one of my tracks, and I've got an unprocessed vocal stem from it as well. I'm just going to play the two together and have a listen for what parts of the vocals are getting lost behind the mix, and what ones are peaking a bit too loud above the mix.
At the dawn of the journey's end, we'll all go down in style as our gates are torn by tidal waves. My circle minor town, as Pandora's box draws close, we will go down with a fight. And when it is all over, we will hold on through the night.
Okay, so as you can hear, it's actually quite a dynamic piece of audio. This vocal section here is getting lost behind the mix, and this one here is actually peaking out quite loud above it. Also, the S's are getting lost behind the mix a bit, and it just generally could feel a bit tighter. So I've got the Fruity Limiter plugin here. Now I'm going to switch it to the compression tab by clicking just there. And here you can see the controls I was talking about earlier. You've got your threshold, your ratio, your makeup gain, and your attack and release settings. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lower this threshold, and that will allow the compressor to actually start looking for the peaks. I'm going to play this quieter section of audio here, and that will then come up on the display so I can see where the peaks are. Okay, so here's that quietest section, and what I'll do is I'll set the threshold to be just about touching it. So now if I set the ratio to about 2:1, you can see it up in the top left of the screen here. That's normally a good starting point when you're starting to compress a piece of audio, and you can make the ratio higher or lower from there. So we'll just play that and have a listen to how dynamic it is now.
At the dawn of the journey's end, we'll all go down in style as our gates are torn by tidal waves. My circle minor town, as Pandora's box draws close, we will go down with a fight. And when it is all over, we will hold on through the night.
Okay, so that sounds a lot better. The only thing I would say is it does sound quite quiet now against the mix, so we can turn up the makeup gain a bit. And I'll just have a play with this while playing the track.
At At the dawn of the journey's end, we'll all go down in style as our gates are torn by tidal waves.
Okay, so I think I've got that about set now. Now, that is pretty much finished. The only other thing I would say is you could have a play with the attack control, and this can actually help bring a little bit of life back into it if you've compressed it quite hard. It's probably easier to hear this if I just solo the track, and I'll play it and I'll drag this up and down so you can hear how it's sounding.
At the dawn of the journey's end, we'll all go down in style as our gates are torn by tidal waves. Monteurs will mind the towers as Pandora's box draws close. We will go down with a fight.
So as you can hear, the attack setting has a relatively minimal effect on vocals. However, when you're processing more transient material such as drum samples, it can be a lot more useful. Now I've got a drum loop just here, and we'll just have a quick listen to that. So as you can hear, the snare is quite a lot louder than the rest of the kit, and I'm going to try and compress that back down. So I just turn my threshold down a bit and my ratio up to about 2, and I'll just set this. So as you can hear, it's now levelled out. However, the snare is actually a bit squashed. It doesn't really punch through as well as it used to. And this is where the attack control comes in. So if I turn this up a bit while I'm playing the loop, you will hear a huge difference straight away. So what's happening here is the slower attack time is allowing the initial hit, which is the transient of the drums, to poke through before the sound itself gets pushed down. This brings some life back into it even after it's been compressed quite hard, although it does allow a certain amount of the peak signal to come through still. So that's all the basics of compression. You can download this project from below and have a play yourself. And if you'd like to see a specific tutorial in the future, head over to the Production Bytes Facebook page and leave a comment suggesting it. I'll also put a link up to the Journey's End, which is the track I used in this video. And please like, comment and subscribe. I hope this tutorial helped. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Production Bytes.